August 26, 2025. With a single photo, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce didn't just announce their engagement, they broke the entire internet. But this picture-perfect ending is a lie. Or at least, it's not the whole story. To understand this one moment of joy, you have to crawl through 15 years of brutal heartbreak, lyrical warfare, and public humiliation that nearly destroyed her. This is the story of how every man who ever broke Taylor Swift's heart accidentally handed her a platinum-selling album and a billion-dollar crown. She didn't just write songs about them, she built her entire empire on their ghosts. From the 27-second phone call that started it all to the man who kept the scarf, this is the complete, unfiltered history of every man who thought he was dating a pop star, when in reality, he was auditioning to become her next masterpiece. Joe Jonas, the first public heartbreak. Our story begins in 2008, a time before Instagram stories, before TikTok, a simple time. Taylor Swift was America's sweetest pie country darling, writing songs about teardrops on her guitar. And Joe Jonas? He was the undisputed king of Disney, the heartthrob of the Jonas Brothers, rocking a purity ring and a perfectly feathered haircut. It was a match made in teen dream heaven. For a few months, they were the it couple. They went to the VMAs together. It was all very wholesome, very PG. We all thought it was forever. Or at least, high school forever. But we were wrong. This perfect little romance was about to end in the most savage way possible for 2008, and in doing so, create a music legend. Joe broke up with Taylor in a 27-second phone call. No, you didn't hear that wrong. Not 27 minutes, 27 seconds. That's barely long enough to say hello and goodbye, let alone shatter a teenage girl's heart. It was brutal, it was cold, and for Taylor, it was ammunition. Because she didn't just cry into her pillow, oh no, she went on national television and put him on blast. This was the moment the Taylor Swift we know today was born.
But now, seriously, that must be really hard can you be friendly? Is it okay?
We haven't talked since, actually.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah. But you know what? Someday I'm going to find somebody really, really great who's right for me.
Yes, you are.
And just like that, the blueprint was born. Step 1, get your heart broken in a spectacularly lame way. Step 2, write a smash hit about it. Forever and Always was a last-minute addition to her album Fearless, a direct shot at Joe. Years later, she would drop Mr. Perfectly Fine from the vault, another lyrical missile aimed directly at him. Mr. Perfectly Fine, how's your heart after breaking my... He wasn't just her ex-boyfriend anymore, he was her muse. This one breakup created the most powerful weapon in her arsenal, the public diary. Fans became detectives, listening for clues, decoding every line. Joe Jonas wasn't just the first public heartbreak. He was the first chapter in the book of Taylor Swift's revenge songwriting. So where is Joe now? After a high-profile marriage and divorce from Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner, he's a father of 2 and still selling out stadiums with his brothers. They're on good terms now, but he'll forever be immortalized as the guy who inspired the very first Taylor Swift breakup anthem. But after that very public, very dramatic humiliation, Taylor's next romance would be the complete opposite. A guy she had way more control over because she had literally hired him. Lucas Till, the music video co-star. After the very public, very messy Joe Jonas saga, Taylor needed a palate cleanser. Something simple. Something controllable. And what's more controllable than hiring your own boyfriend? Meet Lucas Till. You definitely know him as the adorable love interest from the You Belong With Me music video. They had actually met a few months earlier on the set of Hannah Montana, the movie, and the chemistry was obvious. So, naturally, they tried dating for real in the spring of 2009. It was short, it was sweet, And it was, honestly, kind of boring. Don't take my word for it. Lucas said it himself in an interview years later. He said, and I quote, "We dated for a little bit, but there was no friction because we were too nice." He said it was more like they were friends. Ugh, that's one step away from the friend zone. And here we learn the most critical lesson of the Taylor Swift creative process. No friction might be great for a healthy relationship, but it is terrible for writing a hit song. There was no 27-second phone call. There was no drama. There was no betrayal. And because of that, there was no song. Lucas Till was the control group in her romantic experiment. He was the exception that proved the rule. For Taylor's lyrical genius to activate, a spark of passion or pain was absolutely necessary. Lucas went on to have a solid acting career, and Taylor went on to find someone who would give her a little more to write about. And speaking of which, she was about to find the perfect blend of sweet and dramatic with a guy who just so happened to share her name. Taylor Lautner, the Back to December apology. It's the fall of 2009, the world is in the absolute peak of Twilight mania, and Taylor Swift is about to collide with the other side of the vampire-werewolf love triangle. Get ready for Taylor Squared. They met on the set of the romantic comedy Valentine's Day, and their on-screen chemistry immediately spilled into real life. It was a PR dream come true. He was the wholesome, loyal werewolf, and she was America's sweetheart. Paparazzi caught them at hockey games, on dinner dates. It was cute. But behind the scenes, the dynamic was very, very different from her last relationship. This time, he was the one who was all in. Sources from that time all said the same thing. Lautner was way more into her than she was into him. And after a few short months, she called it quits. Everyone expected another breakup song where she played the victim. But what we got was a plot twist no one saw coming. She wrote a song called Back to December, and for the first and one of the only times in her entire career, it was an apology. She was admitting that she was the one who messed up.
So this is me standing in front of you saying I'm sorry.
Taylor Lautner himself later confirmed the song was about him.
Did she write a song about you?
Oh my God.
That's so...
She writes
Which
songs.
one? Which one was
I think it was the one about a sweater and a hat, right? It's like
bad.
your hat in December.
It's called Back to December.
That's right!
This chapter was crucial. It proved she wasn't just a girl who blamed boys for everything. She had self-awareness. She could own her mistakes, and fans loved her even more for it. And clearly, the apology worked. They are great friends to this day. He even went on to marry another Taylor. You can't make this stuff up. But if her relationship with Taylor Lautner was about her being the bad guy, her next one would cast her as the ultimate victim, thanks to a man who is much older and way more famous for breaking hearts. John Mayer, the problematic older man. Okay, buckle up. If the last chapter was a high school drama, this one is a dark psychological thriller. Because Taylor was about to learn that not all heartbreakers are created equal. It was the winter of 2009. She was 19. He was 32. John Mayer was and is one of the most respected guitarists on the planet, but he also had a notorious, well-documented reputation as a Hollywood Lothario who dated and then publicly trashed famous women. And Taylor Swift was his next target. It started professionally with a collaboration on his song, Half of My Heart. But soon the professional relationship turned personal. Their short-lived romance was intense, and according to Taylor, deeply manipulative. And when it ended, she didn't just write a song. She wrote a 7-minute cinematic assassination. The song was called Dear John, and it was the most scathing, detailed, and devastating takedown of her career. She held nothing back. She sang about him being praised as a genius, while she was left crying.
Think I was too young to be messed with.
She sang about ignoring the warnings from people who knew his reputation.
Look back and regret how I ignored when they said run as fast as you can.
And then she delivered the kill shot, calling out the age gap directly.
Don't you think
This wasn't just a breakup song. It was an accusation. And how do we know it worked? Because John Mayer himself confirmed it. He went to Rolling Stone magazine and said the song humiliated him and that it was cheap songwriting. To which an entire generation of young women collectively said, "Good, you deserved it." The impact of this relationship was so deep that over a decade later, fans are convinced she revisited on her song Woulda Coulda Shoulda, calling the relationship a robbery of her youth. This chapter wasn't just a fling. It was a scar. This relationship established Taylor as a lyrical warrior, unafraid to speak truth to power. But if John Mayer was a cynical, calculated heartbreak, her next one would be pure, unfiltered, cinematic chaos. Jake Gyllenhaal, the man who kept the scarf. It's the fall of 2010, and Taylor Swift is about to enter the relationship that would become her magnum opus of heartbreak. The man? Jake Gyllenhaal, a serious Oscar-nominated actor almost a decade older than her. This wasn't a teen dream or a toxic fling. This was supposed to be a grown-up love story. For a few perfect-looking months, their life looked like a movie. They went apple picking upstate. They spent Thanksgiving with his family, and the paparazzi captured it all, creating a walking, talking Ralph Lauren ad. It was intense, it was fast, and it was defined by one single accessory: a scarf. But just as quickly as it began, the cracks started to show. She was 20, turning 21. He was approaching 30 and reportedly uncomfortable with the insane level of media attention. The final blow, according to the legend woven into her lyrics, was him not showing up to her 21st birthday party, leaving her crying in a bathroom. The 3-month romance was over, seemingly without a trace. Except, of course, for the scarf he never returned. That short relationship and that one missing scarf created what many believe to be the greatest song of her entire career, All Too Well. It was a devastatingly specific, emotionally raw masterpiece, a fan favorite for a decade. Then, in 2021, she unleashed the final boss, the mythical 10-minute version of the song.
Left my scarf there at your sister's house.
It broke the internet. The scarf became a cultural artifact, a symbol of heartbreak for an entire generation. This relationship proved Taylor could turn a footnote of a romance into an epic mythology. She wasn't just writing songs, she was building worlds. Jake is still a world-class actor, and to this day, he still gets asked about the scarf. But after the dizzying heights and crushing lows of dating a Hollywood heavyweight, Taylor's next move would be to date a different kind of American royalty. No, really. Connor Kennedy, the American royalty summer. After a string of intense Hollywood heartbreaks, Taylor decided she was done with actors. For the summer of 2012, she aimed for a different kind of fame, American royalty. Yes, really. She started dating Connor Kennedy, the 18-year-old grandson of Robert Kennedy. And when Taylor decides to try a new aesthetic, she does not do it by halves. She went full Kennedy. She started dressing like she was in a 1960s documentary. She bought a massive house right across the street from the family compound in Hyannisport. For a moment, it seemed like a charming summer romance. But this was the exact moment the media narrative officially turned on her. They called it cringy. They fixated on the age gap. She was 22, he was a fresh high school graduate. Then came the bombshell. Members of the Kennedy family publicly accused her of crashing the wedding of Connor's cousin. It was a PR nightmare. The fairy tale summer ended as quickly as the season. Once Connor went back to school, the long-distance relationship fizzled out under the weight of the intense scrutiny. Taylor sold the house, and the whole Kennedy era was over. The hopeful song, Begin Again, is rumored to be about her first date with Connor, capturing the sweet start before it all got so complicated. But the damage was done. This chapter cemented her new public image, the calculated, boy-crazy serial dater who collected men. If dating an American prince caused this much of a stir, her next move would cause an international pop culture explosion. Harry Styles, the pop superstar collision. It's the winter of 2012, and the pop culture universe is about to experience a collision of two neutron stars. In one corner, Taylor Swift, the biggest star in American music. In the other, Harry Styles, the charismatic frontman of One Direction, the biggest band on the entire planet. The internet gave them a name, Taylor. Their short-lived romance was a whirlwind of high-profile dates, from the British Virgin Islands to New York City. But it is this one walk through Central Park that became the defining image of their relationship. It was quiet, it was intimate, and it was captured for the entire world to see. For a second, it looked like a pop fairy tale. But just as quickly as it started, it imploded. A New Year vacation to the Caribbean ended in a massive fight, and Taylor was famously photographed leaving the island alone on a boat. The pop dream was over after just 65 days. But the musical fallout? That would change her career forever. First came the shade. She threw a direct shot at him, British accent and all, during her opening performance at the Grammys.
How that lasted for a day. I say I hate you, we break up, you call me, I love you.
But the real masterpiece came a year later. The Taylor breakup was the primary fuel for her official pop magnum opus, the album 1989. She wasn't even subtle. She literally wrote a song called Style. That's his last name. And Out of the Woods detailed specific moments from their relationship, like a snowmobile accident and the paper airplane necklaces they wore. It was a musical diary of their romance. This relationship wasn't just another chapter. It was the catalyst for her full evolution from country darling to global pop overlord. After the chaos and drama of dating another superstar, her next move would be to find something that looked, at least on the surface, a lot more stable. Calvin Harris, the DJ power couple. After the chaotic supernova of Halor, Taylor went quiet for a bit. She had conquered the pop world, and now she needed a relationship that matched her new status. Not a boy band member, but a man. An equal. Enter Calvin Harris, the biggest DJ in the world. For over a year, they were the music industry power couple. They were both tall, successful, and at the top of their game. It was a mature adult relationship, and for the first time, Taylor seemed to be sharing it with the world on her own terms, through her own Instagram. This wasn't a secret romance, and it wasn't a paparazzi chase. It was curated. It was cute. We all saw the vacation photos, the anniversary gifts. We all thought this might actually be the one. Until very suddenly, it wasn't. The breakup in June 2016 seemed friendly at first, but then the real story came out, and it all centered around one song. The song was a smash hit for Calvin, but weeks after their split, a bombshell dropped. Taylor Swift had secretly co-written the lyrics under the fake Swedish-sounding name Nils Sjöberg. Calvin went off. He felt like her team was deliberately leaking the story to make him look bad, and he unleashed a multi-tweet tirade against her. It was the messiest, most public feud of her entire dating history. The power couple had officially crashed and burned in a dumpster fire of social media drama. This was a turning point. She was being painted as the manipulative villain. And in the face of this humiliation, she made a decision so bizarre, so confusing, and so incredibly public, it felt like a plot from a spy movie. It was the ultimate rebound.
Tom Hiddleston, the bizarre rebound spectacle. Just before the Calvin Harris drama exploded, Taylor had a seemingly innocent dance with beloved Marvel actor Tom Hiddleston at the Met Gala. He plays Loki, the god of mischief. And what happened next was pure, unadulterated chaos. 2 weeks. That's how long it took after the Calvin split for these photos to drop. 2 weeks. Taylor and Loki making out on a pile of rocks in Rhode Island. The internet absolutely lost its mind. Was this real? Was it a music video? No one knew what was happening. What followed was the most bizarrely public romance you have ever seen. It was a global PDA tour. They met each other's parents within weeks. They cuddled at the Coliseum. It was happening so fast and so publicly, it felt like a fever dream. And then came the moment that turned the dream into a meme. The tank top. He wore an I Love Taylor Swift tank top. This was the point of no return. The entire world collectively cringed and screamed the same two words: PR stumped. The relationship crashed and burned after only 3 months. But years later, Taylor would give us the Rosetta Stone to this entire confusing chapter with the song Getaway Car. In it, she basically admits the whole thing was a sham, a desperate escape from her doomed relationship with Calvin Harris, with Tom as the unwitting getaway driver. This spectacle taught her a brutal lesson. The public eye had become a toxic, uncontrollable circus, and after this disastrous public performance, she made a decision that would define the next 6 years of her life. She was going to disappear. Joe Alwyn, the 6-year secret fortress. The I Love Taylor Swift tank top wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was the death of a public persona. Taylor Swift, the serial dater whose every romance was a public spectacle, was officially dead. And in her place, a new Taylor emerged, one who was about to build a fortress of silence. The man who locked the door with her was Joe Alwyn, a respected, up-and-coming British actor. He was the complete antithesis of everyone who came before him. He was private, he was understated, he wasn't a global superstar. He was normal. They reportedly met at the same Met Gala where she danced with Tom Hiddleston, a secret beginning to a secret relationship. And for the next 6 years, the world saw almost nothing. No red carpet debuts, no curated Instagram posts, no pop strolls through Central Park. They lived their life behind closed doors, creating a bubble so private and so sacred that it allowed her to heal from the public crucifixion she had endured. And inside that bubble, she created the most profound music of her career. Reputation was about finding love in the darkness. Lover was a celebration of that secret love. And then, during the pandemic, that quiet, stable relationship fueled a creative explosion, giving us the surprise masterpieces Folklore and Evermore. This was more than just a muse relationship. It was a partnership. Joe Alwyn, under the pseudonym William Bowery, co-wrote several songs with her, even winning a Grammy for his work. We all thought this was it. 6 years of silence, of safety, of partnership. This was the endgame. Until it wasn't. In April 2023, right as her record-shattering Eras tour began, the news broke. The fortress had crumbled. The reasons? Whispers of them having grown apart, and that Joe was struggling with the sheer scale of her world-breaking fame. The end of this era, the longest and most private of her life, gave us the grief-stricken, raw, and devastating breakup album, The Tortured Poets Department. The 6-year secret was over, and Taylor's next move would be the loudest, most public statement she could possibly make. Travis Kelce, the NFL endgame. The fortress had crumbled. The 6-year secret was over. After a breakup that raw, the world expected Taylor Swift to do what she did last time, disappear. But instead, she chose the complete opposite. She chose the big, goofy, football-playing antidote to 6 years of silence. She chose Travis Kelce. And the origin story? It wasn't some secret high society meeting. It was adorably public. Travis, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, went to her Eras tour and tried to give her a friendship bracelet with his number on it. He failed. So what did he do? He went on his podcast and, as he put it, put her on blast. It was a Hail Mary pass, and she caught it. On September 24th, 2023, the Taylor Swift narrative changed forever. She wasn't hiding in a London pub as when she was still with her ex, Joe Alwyn. Nope. Rather, she was in the owner's box at Arrowhead Stadium, screaming for her man Travis for the entire world to see. This wasn't a retreat. It was a joyful public declaration.
The unhiding had begun. What followed was a spectacle of pure, uncomplicated joy. Every game she attended was a global news event. She wasn't just dating him, she was supporting him loudly and proudly. And while the Tortured Poets Department was her goodbye to Joe, 2 songs on that album pointed to her future. The triumphant The Alchemy and the giddy romantic So High School. The sad songs were over. The victory lap had begun. And in August of 2025, they gave the world the one significant moment we've all been quietly waiting for. Travis Kelce went on his knees and proposed to Taylor Swift in a secret garden that he had created in the backyard of his mansion in Leawood, Kansas. According to his father, Ed Kelce, Taylor Swift was inside recording a podcast episode while Travis arranged for thousands of pink and white flowers to be set up in the garden. He then suggested a glass of wine in the backyard before dinner, where he then surprised her with the marriage proposal. The ring wasn't just a ring. It was a masterpiece, an old mine brilliant cut diamond created by the New York-based jewelry designer Kindred Lubick. The diamond is bezel set on a handcrafted 18-karat yellow gold band. This breathtaking 8-carat diamond ring is worth over $500,000. Some jewelry analysts have noted that the 58 facets of the diamond add up to 13, which is Taylor Swift's lucky number. After Travis proposed, they then told the world. The announcement on IG didn't just go viral, it was a global cultural event. 1.7 million likes within 30 minutes of posting. It was the most liked post of the whole year, a digital coronation. Everyone from Hollywood's elite to world leaders to the NFL commissioner released statements of congratulations. It dominated every news cycle, proving that their union wasn't just a celebrity relationship, it was a cultural phenomenon. And this is where the story, for now, ends. The Travis Kelce chapter is the ultimate plot twist. It wasn't a secret to be decoded. It wasn't a sad song to be dissected. It was a touchdown celebration for the entire world to see. It was Taylor Swift, after 15 years of lyrical warfare and breakup narratives, finally writing her own happy ending and not caring who was watching. She had finally gone from writing about the boys who broke her heart to the man who proudly loves her and wants to be with her forever. The question is no longer who she's writing about, but what this entire epic journey truly means. After 15 years of relationship drama, what's the verdict? The pattern is undeniable, and it proves the 2 central truths of the Taylor Swift music empire. First, the muse and the masterpiece. A boyfriend was never just a boyfriend. He was a chapter, a catalyst, a co-writer, whether he knew it or not. The 27-second phone call gave us a Grammy. The Lost Scarf gave us a masterpiece. The 6 years of silence gave us poetry. Her entire career has been a masterclass in turning personal pain into public, platinum-selling art. And that leads to the second, more important truth, the narrative architect. This was never just a story about boys. It was a story about control. She started as a teenage girl whose heartbreak was used as tabloid fodder, and she ended as the most powerful storyteller on the planet. She learned how to weaponize the narrative. When they called her a snake, she built an entire stadium tour around it. When they demanded to see her love life, she hid it for 6 years. And when she was finally ready, she revealed it on her own terms at the Super Bowl. Which leaves us with the final, unanswerable question. After seeing the whole story, what do you think? Is Taylor Swift a hopeless romantic who just can't stop writing her love diary for the world to hear? Or is she a calculated genius who understood from day one that a broken heart is the most valuable currency in pop music? And the biggest question of all, after 15 years of searching, is Travis Kelce finally her endgame? Or is he just the inspiration for her next stadium-shaking, record-breaking anthem? So, who is your favorite Taylor Swift boyfriend, and what's your verdict on her legacy? Let me know in the comments below.